see this. Hello YouTubers, Chief Prepper here. As promised, the first video I'm going to do after the two introductory videos is going to be on power generation for emergency situations. Here in a couple minutes I'm going to show you the 4 things that you must have in order to do what's called a backfeed system for your house. So, it's not too complicated, but there is some science involved in it. The first thing I would say is I am not authorizing you to do anything. I'm not telling you you can do something. The bottom line is there are certain things that you have to have. You must have a transfer switch. I do not have one, but I have a main circuit breaker so that I can break the power connection between my house and the utility lines when I go to backfeed, and I assume that legal responsibility. So just realize that there are requirements. The other thing is there is a science involved. I am not a certified electrician, but I have a family member who is a master electrician. When we get over by the power generation hooch that is going, I will get a little more detail, but everything you use is based on amps, and it's also related to watts, and it's also related to the type of electricity, direct current DC or alternating current AC. Most houses run on AC. So the science involved in is your generator is probably going to have either an RV or some kind of 4-prong plug that's going to be rated for 30 amps or 50 amps. So, and those plugs are determined by the wattage capability of the generator you have. So in my case, I have a 30 amp plug on my generator, which is rated for 6200 watts running power. 6200 watts, if you want to know how many amps that is, you divide that by the voltage and it's 120, you get roughly 50 something amps. So I went over this in the video previously about I need to get a bigger generator, but for the time being I'm doing a Century fuel system conversion, and then if that works off the 5-gallon propane tank, then I'll invest the money in a 250-gallon liquid propane tank because I don't have to treat the fuel and I don't have to rotate it. So the other thing you need to know is whatever generator system you use, you have to know how much you want to power. So that requires you to go around your house and pull the plug on your refrigerator. There should be a label on it that says how many watts it uses and everything else. And then you're going to need to learn to which circuit breakers you need to turn off that you're not going to use. So, during the freeze, we didn't have water because the pipe broke, but I was turning off the hot water heater anyway. I thought that it was on so I could live with what I had. Generator-wise, not the case. I am going to have to get a generator with probably a 50 amp plug. So you're going to need a generating source, gas, propane, or natural gas generator. I would recommend a tri-fuel system. The adapter I bought for my generator is supposed to convert it from gasoline only to gasoline, liquid propane, and or natural gas. So natural gas comes out of the ground, you get it from your power company, and liquid propane, you can do what I'm doing where I get liquid propane tank. So and the liquid propane is important because you don't have to treat it. It stays in the tank and then you use it when something happens. But talking about the fuel, you're going to need to know your fuel consumption. All of your generators come with a half-load rating. So having said that, keep that in mind. So you're going to need a power generation source. You're going to need a cable to go from your generating source to your house. You're going to need the system that I will show you, which is a backfeed system that goes, you plug your cable into from your generator, it goes into your main circuit breaker on your house, that goes to a circuit breaker that remains off until you start using it. So, and real quick, there's going to be other videos coming up. I'm going to be doing one on lights, lighting, a review of the EV240. The additional solar panels that I ordered are supposed to be here Sunday. One of the big things that comes up that I haven't heard anybody talk about is, what are you going to do with your trash? So I'm going to do a video. A lot of old farmers have an old 55-gallon metal barrel that they burn all their trash in, and then they compost. So another video I'm going to be doing is on pests. So if you live in the South and you've ever had chiggers, then you understand exactly how awful chiggers are, and then, you know, what do you do when you don't have bleach to kill them with? So keep that in mind. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to show you the garden because my hired help got that hoed today. By the way, any kind of labor that gets done around here, I have a guy that I pay that comes and does it. So he cleaned up the garage for me. Same guy mowed the grass today. And I got him to hoe the garden, and then he basically moved the generators into the power generation hooch that he built, and he set them up, and I'll show you that here shortly. Apologize for the jumping around. As you can see already, the garden is much better. It's not overgrown like it was. That's the pile of stuff that came out of it. I still have to get in and do the weeds around each of the individual plants, but the garden is in much better shape. So, going to the power generation hooch. Show you the two generators I have in it, which are mine, that I have. One for hunting, really, and then one for the house. And I would recommend getting two generators. I will not get rid of the one I have that's only rated for 30 amps because, you know, even when I get my 50 amp one, you can run them for about 4 days. That's the general rule of thumb, 100 hours, and then you need to change the oil. So you need to buy the supplies for your power generator in addition to fuel. You need spark plugs. You need an oil filter if it has an oil filter. You need an air filter if it has an air filter. And you need to change the oil. So here is the power generation hooch. It's about 85% complete. I'm not putting a back on it because the family member that's a master electrician said you need to worry about it overheating in the sun. So there's the power cord that I was talking about. It's my two generators. The cord is already snaked around the bottom, hooked into the generator. So power generation source and cable. This cable right here, this bundle, will be unspooled and run over here to my back feed system. So I know enough about electricity to have installed this. I'm not going to show you all the details, but this is the plug. Basically, the cable for the plug, the wires in it go into circuit breaker box. It's labeled generator. It is in the off position. Everything that's got a G on it is something that stays on. Everything else gets turned off. So the air conditioning condenser. This is my inverter for my solar system. I don't know what that is. I should know that, but I have to turn it off here and turn it off here. That kills my solar generation system. So basically the wires that hook up to this breaker that go to this plug, if it's a 30 amp breaker, 30 amp plug, you have to have wires that are rated for 30 amps. So power generator, cord, hook up to the house, circuit breaker, and then over here is the key part. Inside this box, I have a main circuit breaker. I have to throw that off, kill my solar, have to run the cord, turn on my generator, make sure it's working, come over here after the main is killed, flip this breaker right here for the generator, and then I have 30 amps of power. So very important that if you don't know anything about electricity, you hire an electrician. Some people might say, why? Well, one, if you hook it up wrong, you'll burn your house down. So again, I am not authorizing you. I am not telling you that you can do this. You need to be honest with yourself. If you don't know, pay an electrician. You need a main circuit breaker to kill the power from your house to everywhere going down the line. That's why you have to have a transfer switch or a main circuit breaker. The transfer switch is supposed to be so you can't turn the power from the generator on without turning off the main breaker. But it is what it is. So we're back in the garage. Hopefully that was interesting to you.